Hi, and welcome to Memoir of a Psychic. I'm Katie, your host, and this is your August psychic horoscope. I have done psychic horoscopes for myself privately for years, where I sit down and I channel what to expect for the month ahead. And I thought to myself earlier this year, I should probably be sharing these. So that's what we're doing. This is a live channeling session on what we can expect in the collective for the month of August. With that being said, there's never a one size fits all collective message. So take what resonates and leave the rest. We're going to uncover the general theme of the month, how to work with that theme, any other energies that are going to come up. I will also look into career and love life specifically. So let's get started. Amazing feedback from the July psychic horoscope. That was super, super fun to see. So definitely go watch that if you feel up to it. I also will have a short summarized version of the August psychic horoscope over on TikTok, as I always do. You're going to hear pauses throughout this because it's a live channeling. I try to edit them out, but they creep in. And last but not least, the dog is very clingy lately. So you might hear him snoring because he's sleeping right next to me. So if you don't vibe with dog snoring, you can skip this one. I'm going to start with what the collective overall theme is for August. And I already know a couple of things because Spirit was speaking with me in the shower this morning, which tends to happen. Because I knew I was going to do this this week. I didn't realize I was going to do it today. And I felt that pull and that call this morning. And Spirit was showing me that they're probably going to be a bit concise and short and sweet. Yes. Okay. This is what Spirit had said to me this morning. Everyone for August needs a reminder about what 2026 is about collectively. So this gets brought up very frequently in these psychic horoscopes. I think it gets brought up at least once, but what they're saying is going into August, this needs to be top of mind throughout the entire month, that this is the point of 2026, energetically speaking. And that is building a strong foundation to be your launch pad for 2027. So, what Spirit is saying that needs to be remembered and top of mind for August specifically. They're saying really honestly the last half of 2026, but specifically something about August. It is going to be vitally important energetically and for well being to remember that 2026 is that slow and steady building the foundation. Yeah, there's still that antsy feeling. I say this, I swear, every single month. Time is passing by so quickly, but there's also a lot of restlessness in the collective. And it's interesting because it feels like time is passing by insanely fast, but no, a lot of people in the collective are not seeing the progress that they would have hoped. So, Spirit just wants to remind all of us going into August that this month specifically, August specifically, you need to remember that it's still a slow and steady wins the race. Even though time is moving quite quickly, your life and what you are building is going to continue to take a little bit slower of a pace. Spirit's comparing it to like building a house. If you want a house built really quickly, it probably might not be the strongest foundation. And as soon as a tornado or hurricane comes, that house is going with it. So that is what we need to keep in mind in the month of August. But it's interesting because this is the most prominent reminder, but I don't see that same level of frustration that I've seen in past months. Okay, Spirit's saying that there isn't the same level of frustration because everyone's kind of actually getting used to this idea, and most of us in the collective are kind of coming around to this concept of, oh, okay, like I'm just slow and steady wins the race, and finally maybe starting to really integrate that. Also, this is Spirit being a little sassy. Spirit saying that a lot of people are just being a little bit spoiled. Not everyone. Some people, Spirit is saying your frustration makes complete sense, but they are saying some of us are being quite spoiled, where there is progress being made and there are things that we need to be proud of, but it's not the end all be all goal that we have. We haven't reached that yet, so nothing seems good enough. And so Spirit is saying that if you're not careful with that kind of energetic, if you keep saying, well, that's not good enough, but I want this, but I want this, but I want this, you might get humbled very quickly, especially going into autumn. So keep this in mind as you move through August. Slow and steady wins the race. You're building something. You're meant to be moving a little bit slowly. Your progress is meant to be slow because it needs to be methodical. It needs to be the strongest foundation you have ever built. That way, when 2027 rolls around, you can really use that as a very steady launch pad for the next chapter and the next phase. So, for most people in the collective, 2026 is the start of something, and 2027 is when you actually start to like reap those rewards and sort of realize those goals. The other collective message Spirit has, and this is a little bit more granular, a little bit more actionable, is to be very disciplined with yourself. They're saying this really mostly applies to when we get into the holidays, but I do see a lot of us wanting to kind of slip back into, oh, yeah, they're calling us out. Spirit's saying that you, almost as a tantrum, will start to slip back into old habits because you're not seeing the progress that you want. So instead of keeping up with your self-discipline and holding yourself accountable and having a really heady level of responsibility that you've had for most of the year, you'll kind of go, well, I'm not seeing any progress anyway, so why does it even matter? Look out for that. That's going to pop up in August. That feels quite prominent for most of us. And they're comparing us to toddlers. So that's a little mean. Yeah, they're really wanting all of us to look out for that in some capacity. It literally feels like, well, I'm not seeing any progress, even though I've been training for the marathon every day for a year. So I'm just going to stop training. It's like, no, like you have to kind of have a little bit more faith. And also, I'm giggling because Spirit's being a little too honest with us again for this month. Spirit is saying that you need like a reality check and you almost need a little bit of humbling in regard to how much progress you've made. So they kind of said this already, where you have made progress, you're just not exactly where you want to be and you're throwing a fit about it. So they want us to just like calm down. Calm down, have a little bit of a reality check with ourselves, take a second to appreciate the progress we have had, and just keep in mind as we move through August that it's still slow and steady. Things will pick up. The real momentum is really mostly in 2027 for most of us, and it's just time to just keep chugging along. Wow, Spirit is being very, very sassy today. Spirit is also saying that you're not actually even ready for what you're asking for. So for the collective, this is a theme, whether it's the relationship, whether it's the career stuff, the money, the house, the child, whatever. Spirit is saying, oh, y'all are going to hate that. Spirit's saying you're not ready for it. Very, very, very frankly speaking, yikesies. And they're saying I can literally feel people rejecting me saying that. But Spirit is saying if you really sat down to really think about what you can handle, say you're asking for your soulmate to come through. Spirit is saying if you really sat down and you got really, really honest with yourself, you still have a little bit of healing and work to do before you could show up in relationship how you want to. Same with career. I see that really prominently, especially with like financial stuff, is what Spirit is showing me is like you keep begging for $50 million, but your nervous system probably couldn't handle $50 million. Like it would just be too much. So just being very, very blunt and honest with us going into August, we need the reality check. We need humbling a little bit, and we need to hold ourselves accountable to what we've been working towards and keep up with that responsibility and not try to throw a hissy fit and then ruin all of our progress for the year so far just because we don't have exactly what we want yet. The main focus to August is satisfaction. I think this has come up in a different month. But this is what I started to say before and Spirit pivoted. So sorry, you can see how my brain works with channeling. We like go down one thing and then we take a sharp left and then we go down the other and then we circle back. So to get more granular, to get more action oriented for August, something to focus on is what is satisfying you. Yeah, this is exciting. So this has been a bit, honestly, this has kind of come up almost every single month of the year so far. Um, it is in some capacity, we are being asked to really lean on what brings us joy and satisfaction. We've been asked that, honestly, I think since June. So this would be the third month. But they're talking about satisfaction, like deep, deep satisfaction, no matter what that looks like. So we are being asked to own what that satisfaction is for us personally and not what it is for everybody else. So another collective theme for the year, we're being asked to have discernment and individuality and to lean into that. And that's why we're seeing kind of this downfall of all the influencers. I'm going to do a whole separate episode on what I'm seeing in the collective for that. But how it's showing up in August is really paying close attention to the trends. Like, try it out, explore, have fun, whatever. That's part of, I think, the collective social media experience we're all having as we kind of influence each other, and we can find a lot in that. But Spirit's saying in August, we are being asked now more than ever to have a deeper understanding of what satisfaction looks like for us personally. Not even really joy or happiness, but deep-rooted satisfaction. What satisfies you? What satiates you in your life? Is it a robust social life? Is it eating good food? Is it eating a burger every single day? Is it eating pizza every Friday? What satiates you personally on a soul level? They're not talking about the surface level. They're not talking about necessarily the health and the wellness and the skincare. There could be overlap for you personally. They're not talking about surface level. They are talking about what satisfies your soul and how can you hone in on that this August and kind of make that a focus. So why is that coming up? So this is coming up because Spirit wants us to continue to prioritize ourselves and our own discernment. Again, collective theme for the year, but it's really showing up this August as satisfaction and prioritizing what that looks like for you personally. What that looks like for you is not what it's going to look like for me. What I find deeply satisfying, let me think of an example. I love really, really, really hard work. I love working really, really hard. That way I can have the weekend off. Like, there's nothing more satiating to me and my soul than, I finished the workday on Friday, and now I don't have any work stuff to do for all day Saturday, Sunday. Like, that is what fuels me to keep going. That might look completely different for everybody else. I also love a really good book. That satisfies my soul. Going on long walks for me personally as well, hanging out with my sister. There's a lot of stuff that satisfies my soul because I have really paid attention to that this year, as I was told. We're being asked to focus on that and really hone in on the individual aspect of satisfaction because there's a lot more that's going to transpire throughout the end of the year with celebrity, social media, influencers, etc. It's just gonna all come to a head and boil over, and we are being asked again to have our own discernment and individuality, and I see quite a few even more drama in the collective in regard to like pop culture and TikTok and whatever else. I just see even more heat and drama, and that's going to build and build and build and build and build. So that's why we're being asked to just like, what do you want? What do you want to do? And then do that. Can't go wrong, right? Let's move on to love because that's why most people are here. Love life. What is in store for the collective in love life? There's a lot of overlap between the general messages. Yeah, they're saying all the advice they just said also applies to love life. Make it your own. They don't really want to talk about love. What the heck? I noticed this in readings lately. And I had two other psychics mention this to me recently as well. It's like in readings, it's like Spirit doesn't even want to talk about love all of a sudden. But let me see what I can get. Talk to me. A lot of you are going to hate this. Genuinely. Sorry. If you're here for love life predictions, sorry. Spirit's saying just focus on yourself. All of us. They're saying single, taken, in love, unhappy in love, all of it. Pull it back to yourself. There needs to be more of a focus on ourselves in August. Not necessarily in a self-centered way, not in a selfish way, but there's something really odd in the collective in love for August, and I'm not quite sure what this is that I'm picking up on, but this really does apply to all of us, just in different ways. You know, if you're single, maybe don't focus on dating, focus on yourself. If you're happily in love, same thing. Can you continue to have that individuality and discernment within your relationship? If you're unhappy in love and you have no idea what to do, but you know you're miserable, maybe it's not the time to do anything. Maybe it is time to just pivot your focus on yourself. I'm seeing this with parents a lot too. If you're listening to this or watching it and you're a parent, Spirit is saying, how can you, within your means, focus on yourself a little bit more? Is there anything you can do to just kind of pivot the focus a little bit and prioritize yourself a little bit more? So when it comes to all love and relationships, friendships, romantic, all of it, we are being asked to just focus on ourselves. What satisfies us? What makes us happy? What do we want with our lives? And how can we maintain some sort of individuality even when we're either in love or as a single person who is hoping to date? Yeah, that's like all they want to say about it. It's like, it's time to just focus on you. All of us. I'm just trying to see if Spirit will maybe explain a little bit why that's the theme for August. Yeah, again, they're just really, really re-emphasizing the lesson of individuality and discernment. So as I said before, we all influence each other on some level, not just on the internet, in every single way. Our friends influence us, our lovers, our partners, our friends, our family, and we are being asked to have the discernment and awareness and the connection with ourselves enough to know, okay, but what is it that I want? And it's not a bad thing to be influenced by other people. Spirit wants to be clear about that, but we are being asked to think on our own and stand on our own 2 feet, whatever that looks like for us individually. So if you're single, that might look like maybe getting less advice from your friends and tuning in. If you're in partnership, you might need to kind of form your own opinion about things before asking theirs, or not taking on their opinion. Maybe think about your own. If you are single, you might need to be navigating dating on your own without like dating advice from people around you. Especially if you're single. If you're single and you are hoping to call in love, what you need to be doing in August is figuring out what you want individually in your love life. You need to be thinking about your life as a whole. But I see way too much looking around at what everyone else is wanting and what everyone else is doing, and that needs to stop, is what Spirit is saying. You need to be using the month of August and really the rest of the year to look at, but what is it that I want in connection and relationship, even if it's weird, even if it doesn't make sense to anybody else? That's what you need to be focusing on. Okay. I'd argue all of us need to be focusing on that, but if you are single, that is what you should be focusing on for the month of August. Because a lot of you watching this right now want something deep down that is unique and different and not typical. It's not the traditional kind of relationship, and that's a beautiful thing. Like, you need to really recognize that and recognize that depth and uniqueness you have, and stop looking at, but that's weird, but this person doesn't have that and that doesn't exist, and da-da-da. Shoo, calm down. Calm down, queen. It's okay. Take a deep breath, okay? Do some reflection. Have your discernment. embrace your uniqueness, and embrace what you want that's different. It's the only way forward. Career, I think everything that was said for the general messages makes a lot of sense for career. Let's just say that, especially about progress and slow and steady, etc. If you've been feeling, go. If you skipped ahead to this part, go rewatch that because that applies to career. Unfortunately, I have to say this every month and I cringe every single month, but you are not going to be where you want to be in career for the month of August. Oh, when does it end? But Spirit is pointing back to what they said initially about the tantrums. You have made progress, even if it's just personal, internal progress, and you need to honor that and acknowledge it and not throw a tantrum because you're not exactly where you want to be quite yet. Oh my God, Spirit's being very firm with us this month. I'm seeing a lot of discourse. Is that the right word? In career, I'm seeing butting heads with coworkers or a boss, or maybe even clients and customers. There's a really odd vibe here for the month of August. And Spirit wants you to be aware of it. Butting heads, losing your temper, short fuse, etc. Just be very grounded and aware of yourself because I do see a lot of projection here. I see a lot of whoever's the people listening to this specifically, your coworkers are going to project onto you, maybe a boss. I see a lot of fighting and disagreeing within career for the month of August. Maybe it only happened once for you. I see some drama, something to look out for, something to keep your head on straight about. Spirit's advice for it is to, again, use your discernment. What do you think about this situation? Pause, take a deep breath, process, think, don't fall in with the crowd. Is there drama going on that doesn't involve you that you can stay out of? If you get pulled into the drama, make sure you're thinking through what you're doing. Make sure you're thinking through what you're saying and not just kind of following along with what other people are doing and thinking and saying. Make sure you're pausing to really ask yourself the question, does this feel true to me? And use your discernment going forward. Most importantly, Spirit's saying stay out of it. If you can, stay out of it. Yeah, I feel a lot of intensity between, it's not like, it feels like relationships and career. So like coworker or boss or with your clients or customers, maybe it's your followers even. I just see a lot of intensity going on there. So don't react immediately. Take a beat, take a pause, take a deep breath. And Spirit is very much encouraging us to not go along with the crowd. This feels very specific. So something to look out for. And then they're reiterating everything said initially for the general messages applies very much to career. Yeah, so this is pretty much it. I knew Spirit would be concise today. They told me so. I think this is maybe the shortest one of these so far. And Spirit is saying the sort of last parting message they have for us for August is that it gets better in the last chunk of the year. Really, October, November, December feel really cozy and great for the collective for this year. And I've been feeling that since the start. So what Spirit has shown me in previous channeling sessions, as well as what they're showing now, is 2026 is like lightning speed. And then October, November, December, just like a nice end cap to the year. Of course, there's going to be like busyness of the holidays, but it's going to feel different. The energy is going to shift come October. So if you feel like you can't even get your head on straight, and you're feeling like just, it's like, what is going on? Oh, just know it slows down, it gets easier, and it feels lighter and better. If things are already feeling kind of good for you, then they're going to feel even better. Oh my God, I was hoping Spirit wouldn't say this because it comes up every single time I do this and I just feel like I'm repeating myself, but hey, it's important. The last parting message Spirit has is to take action. This comes up if you go back and you look at every single psychic horoscope I've done this year, which has only been a few, you will see this come up every single time. They are saying action will be rewarded in 2026 and especially in 2027. It is only August. I know most of the year is done. We're over half, but Spirit is saying it is never too late and action will be rewarded. And you need to remember that you are setting yourself up for success in 2027. So, whatever action you take now, even if it's just the one tiny little step between now and the end of the year, it will be vastly rewarded come 2027. It'll already be rewarded this year, but especially in 2027. So this is a very action oriented, take charge, be bold, make stuff happen, even if you don't know what you're doing, even if you don't know the end result, even if you know step 1 and you don't know step 2. It is time to take action. And if you can take action, you will be rewarded. Like I said, that has come up every single month of the year so far. So obviously it's very important. And I can honestly say, as a psychic that does readings for a living, and I don't know how many a month. The most I've done in 1 month was like 80 readings in 1 month, which was crazy. This year's been wild. It's come up, it's fun to see how that collective message affects everyone individually. So I just want to offer that kind of insight as well. Is for some people, that action is going to be like quit the job, start the business, leave the relationship, For some people, it's going to be wake up earlier, take a vacation. Like it is so vastly different on every single level, depending on you and your needs and what you're wanting to set up for yourself come 2027. So just keep that in mind. Action will be rewarded, even if the action that you need to take is to take a break. This was your August psychic horoscope. My intention with these is to help us work with the collective lessons, themes, and energies to help us just live more in tune, intuitive, as well as a little bit of manifesting. I found as a psychic that if you can really kind of work with what comes through, you have kind of higher chance of manifesting what you're looking for. So, hot tip, if you enjoyed this, definitely like and subscribe. I do this every single month on YouTube and Spotify. I do a written version over on Substack, and then I do a short little cute summary version over on TikTok, which gets really great feedback every time I do it. So I will link all of that down below. If you'd like a personal reading, I'm currently booked solid through October 1st, but the rest of the year will open shortly. If you want to sign up for my wait list, you will get early first access. That will also be linked down below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.